Hello and welcome back to another Project Feline devlog, documenting the development of my dream game, a third-person anime-style parkour adventure. Last episode we talked about game feel, and how I added things like post-processing, soundtrack and music, and how I modified some of the animations to enhance the feeling of the game. I also said last episode that I was going to take a break, and I kind of couldn't help myself, and started doing some work, and I just wanted to put out a little update to share with you guys. I've got a new build available right as this video goes up, so without further ado, let's get into it. Just quickly before we begin, I have merch available at projectfeline.com/shop. If you'd like to support the development of this game directly, head down to the shop link down in the description and get yourself some original design, graphic t-shirts and hoodies. So one of the new things I've added in the last several days is character lean. So if I start moving around, if I use my mouse to turn, you notice that Gabi will lean into the turn with her body. And I know it's not any fancy mocap stuff, it's just a very basic rotation, but I think that little bit of rotation really brings a lot to the feeling, and it just feels way better to steer Gabi around in this environment. I've also added another little feature where if you move left or right, you notice that the camera will frame Gabi in the left or right third of the screen, depending on which way you're going. And I've programmed that in so that as you're moving to the left or right, you'll see obstacles come into view sooner than they would have otherwise if Gabi was in the middle of the screen. So it kind of lets you see what's ahead of you and react sooner. So I hope that that little change is of benefit to the game. I've also introduced slide steering. So if I perform a slide by moving the crouch button while moving, you can see that I can now steer Gabi as she slides instead of going in a straight line like I would have before. And I think this is really fun. I actually enjoy going around these little pillars here with the slide. And I can do little donuts as well, like that. So I hope that that's a pretty fun feature. It also helps a lot with enemies as well, because the only way to defeat enemies at the moment is to slide into them. And I think having that extra control will definitely help. I've also made a lot of changes to the wall ride and how Gabi detects walls. There was an issue a lot of people had, especially in these sorts of areas with these tiny crates, where if you were to jump around them, you would start wall running across the side of them even if you didn't want to, and it was really easy to get stuck on these, and it just felt very sticky. So I've done a bit of modifications to it so that the wall ride will actually check how tall an object is before you wall ride. So if an object is shorter than Gabi, it will not allow her to wall ride on it. But if an object is taller than Gabi, it will allow you to wall ride on it. I've also greatly increased the amount of control that you get as you wall ride. It's still not completely perfect, but I have a new thing now where in order to perform a wall run, you have to be moving forward. And if you stop moving forward, you will detach from the wall. So I hope that that gives players a bit more control over when they want to be performing wall rides so that they're not stuck, once they get on a wall, they feel like that they have to carry the whole wall run out before getting off the wall. Now it's actually quite easy to get off. You can always use crouch, but now if you just stop moving, you will get off the wall. It also makes sure that you're moving forward relative to the wall. So if you start moving sideways, for example, you will just fall off sideways. You can also do this funny thing where if you jump on the wall and mash forward, you can sort of feather your wall ride a bit. So you can just go on and off it to slow yourself down a little. So I hope that that little feature is nice. I've also changed the jump quite a bit. I've done a few new things with the jump. I've changed some of its properties, and I've added a few new jump moves as well. One of those being that if you press jump, you notice that Gabi's jump height isn't as tall as it used to be. But if you hold spacebar, you'll do a longer jump. So you can tap it for a little hop, or you can hold it to get up some of these taller surfaces here. And for the extra tall surfaces, I've added another thing. Before in the game, you'd have this thing where if you jumped while in midair, you would do this dash forward. And that was a nice little move. I think it helped people navigate the environments a lot quicker, and it gave you a lot of air control. There was another thing happening where people would get stuck on ledges and that sort of thing, and I do want to add some kind of ledge grab feature in the future, but that's going to take a bit of time to get working. So for the moment, I've made a substitute where if you jump while in midair, you will perform a double jump. And I believe I did have that in the game at one point, but I have now mapped the double jump and the dash jump into one thing, except like you can do them both, but they'll be mapped to different inputs. So if you press spacebar while in the air, you'll do the double jump. If you press shift while in the air, you will do the dash jump. And of course you can reconfigure the keybinds if you want, but I just have those as the defaults. But I hope that combining these two moves might make for some fun scenarios. I know it's not like a proper ledge grab or anything, but I hope that for the time being, it's a good substitute. I've also added some new behavior to the cameras, especially for the controller players out there. Every time I have someone over to play this with a controller, I notice that a lot of them don't use their look stick, and then they end up getting lost going, oh, where am I supposed to go? And then they're, looking at the floor or something. So I've done a bit of changes to it so that when you're using a gamepad, if you start moving around, the camera will automatically orbit around Gabi if you move left and right. So I'm hoping that with this feature, you'll be able to navigate around without having to put your thumb on the right stick as much, and you can just let the camera kind of control itself. Of course, you always get free movement over it, and you can override it at any time, but the camera now has this automatic orbiting, like a lot of 3D platformers that I've played tend to have. I've also added a bit of smoothing on it as well. It has a bit of smoothing on the camera when you look around. You can disable it at any time by going to settings, and then disabling camera smoothing. And you see when I do that, if I'm using my mouse, you can see it's really snappy. And I know the speedrunners are probably going to like that one quite a bit, but if you're more of a casual player and you want something a bit less snappy and something a bit smoother, perhaps, you can turn on camera smoothing. I'm hopeful that that will kind of add a bit of finesse to the game. Another thing I've noticed is that when I give this game to people to test, a lot of the times they just play around and they don't even pay attention to the game's objectives, really. They kind of just go in the test room and play around with the mechanics for like 20 minutes or something. So I've made a new mode that's like a free roam mode essentially. And I've used the interchange map for the free roam mode at the moment. And this map was from a few updates ago. It's sort of based on this train station environment. And I thought this would be a good place to put a free roam mode in because I think it's one of the bigger maps. And I've even taken some of the walls out as well, so you can kind of just explore to your heart's content. And there's no enemies, there's no collectibles, there's no time limit, there's no stopwatch or scoring. It's just completely empty for you to explore to your heart's content. So yeah, I've added this mode in the new build for you guys to play around with. And yeah, just let me know if you guys enjoy it in the comments below. Wait, did you just hear me say new build? Yes, that's right. I've uploaded a new build just as this video goes live, available link down in the video description. And I know it's been a while since I've put a build out, it's been like 6 months or something. However, there's a few little differences that you guys will have. I've explained why in a previous video that I'll link down below. So for the free build, as you can understand, I'm not going to be putting all of the game's production assets in there. That will come when the game releases. For now though, I do have this old model of Gabi from way back, and this is just like her dummy, like test model. But I have made a few upgrades to it. I've now given it the actual anime style shader, just like Gabi's real model does, and I've also given her Gabi's animation and rig, so that it feels a bit more like the final product. So while I am releasing these builds for free to test gameplay, I would very much appreciate any support you can send my way. If you want to leave a donation through the itch page or check out the merchandise, I'd appreciate any support you can send. That new build is available linked in the video description. Go and check it out, and yeah, it's just my little Christmas gift to you guys for the end of the year. Thank you so much for following my development journey. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like it, and be sure to subscribe to the channel to continue following the development of Project Feline. I've also made some new social media pages for the game, so you can now follow Project Feline on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I now have dedicated pages for those, so be sure to follow them for more updates in between uploads. I'm going to be posting a lot of my updates on there now. If you still want to follow my personal social media, I will link those down below as well. Also, a lot of the progress I showed in this video was actually a lot of stuff I did on stream. So if you want to watch me do some of this live before the videos come out, be sure to follow me on Twitch, which I'll link down in the video description. I don't have a exact schedule for when I do it, I just kind of stream when work needs doing. But if you want to make sure you don't miss it, be sure to join the Discord server to get notified when I go live, or to follow the channel. Either way, you'll get notified, you see when I go live, and I usually stream for like 1 to 2 hours at a time. I'd also love to give a huge thank you to my generous supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to support the production of these videos, be sure to check out my Patreon linked in the video description and get access to exclusive monthly rewards. Also be sure to check out the Project Feline merch, available linked in description, and all of the merch sales help me to continue developing this project. So if you'd like to support me, be sure to check out the merch. Thank you so much for following my development journey. I might actually go and take my break now, maybe, who knows. Subscribe to find out. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.